Zoupa, Michael, thank you so much for coming on the show. You are an author, personal trainer by trade as well, do a lot in the mental health sector, and you like to poke people on social media, which I find fun. But that's what my sum up would be of you. But for people listening along that don't know you, tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay. Thank you for the question, and thanks for inviting me. I think that my elevator speech would be, I have the audacity to do that which I desire and to make money out of it. So that I guess I'm motivated to follow my dreams and passions and stuff if that's my work. So, yeah, I have the audacity to make my work exciting and things I'm interested in. And would recommend, when I'm building a business at the start, it's usually pretty stressful and, a few tins of tuna for dinner, but I always get myself into the place that I want to be and then just coast for a while until I get a new interest or something. So,
yeah, that's awesome. I think you touched on something there that's quite powerful. You have the audacity to do what you love to do. Some people say that a paycheck is what they pay you, the price to give up your dreams. Do you think you kind of relate to that in the many ventures that you've done?
Yeah, it didn't take me long to figure it out. I was working, I worked at Subway for ages and got free sandwiches, which was great. But then I worked at Coles, stacking shelves, and it didn't take me long to realise that I spent all of my money on de-stressing when I hated my job. I was just like, oh, well, this is pointless. Like, you spend it all on, lunch and parking and, all that kind of stuff. And you sort of end up with nothing. And, I just drank a lot and to cope with it. And it's like, well, this is not I wasn't getting anywhere. And so then, when I started doing personal training, I was waitering at the same time, and that was a good job. I liked the people I was with, but it was really fascinating to me that I could just kind of hang out with people while they were working out, because that's what you do at gyms anyway, is like hang out with people and work out. And then I just kind of used my martial arts thing as a competitive edge. Like, it just sort of happened that way. People were like, oh, cool, punching and kicking, rad. And then 10 years later, I've got a fairly successful martial arts business. I've got like a troop of loyal fans who are good friends with each other. There's like a culture around that business and stuff. And I'm actually kind of stepping away from that business and from personal training just because the underlying skill set that I had of being a leader and a coach and inspiring confidence in people, whether that was like the ability to defend themselves, or, to get their diet and their body under control to the place where they felt good about themselves. So that current of inspiring confidence in people, I've just kind of hunkered down on that, and I've got a different niche now, and I'm just doing it in a different way. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I probably did you a bit of disjustice there in my intro. I forgot the martial arts side of things, but personal training, when you get your body right, you have more confidence. If you know how to fight, you have more confidence. So it makes sense that the underlying theme here is confidence. What sort of led you to? I mean, was it the experience with yourself? Like, okay, now I know how to defend myself. So going out on the town, I'm not going to be scared. Like, did you have a breakthrough in there for yourself?
Yeah, and I think I got bullied a bit in high school. I don't know if you can see, but I'm sort of ethnic looking, and I was a bit odd. I'm a bit of an introvert, so I didn't always fire back when people were verbally teasing me or whatever. And you can be a bit of a weird kid when you're quiet, and sort of people pick on you if you're a bit different and that. And then I just found that when I did stand up to bullies, not only did it give me a huge boost in self-esteem and that, but it got me a bunch of attention as well. So there's kind of this negative reinforcement of a bad behavior, positive reinforcement of antisocial behavior. So I sort of had this hero complex. I'm like, I'm the bully killer. And then in my, early adulthood and that, when I'd get in sort of altercations, it was always kind of defending someone or protecting someone. And that's funny. One of my brother's friends said to me one day, he goes, oh, you're always saving people. And I was like, wow, that's cool that that's common knowledge, that like people talk about that and they're like, oh, he's always getting involved and jumping in and getting himself in trouble, but it's always like righteously defending, the meek or, Yeah, and it was a bit like that. And, if I'm completely honest, there was a bit of a self-righteousness in that. Like, I'm the hero and you're the bad guy. There was a bit of a ridiculous, like,
comic
Hollywood
book sort of
complex.
thing.
Yeah.
It's actually,
which I can admit now.
Yeah, it's actually really funny. So I lost my phone a while ago. I thought I lost it, and I thought someone just stole it and like turned it off and all that kind of thing. And my girlfriend was like sending it messages going like, "We'll find you. We know who you are." And my first thought in my head, because like people that steal phones, they don't steal the phone to have the phone. They steal the phone because they're leveraging the emotion of you want your phone back. So they'll be like, "Oh, I'll give you, you pay me $100 and I'll give you your phone back." The first thought that went through my head, because we've known each other for a while, I was like, right, if someone's stolen my phone and I can find the location, I'm going to contact Zoupa and we're going to go to he's going to bring Dale along and and we're going to go find this guy and Zoupa's going to be the hero. Like that was, so you didn't get that call because I found my phone. But I'm sure that would have been something you would have taken on.
Yeah, look, in my teenage years, so I've been sober since I was 20, as per the book, which I'm sure you'll ask me about later.
I will, yeah.
But before that, a friend of mine, he called me one day, and he's an absolute hooligan. He's a comedian, and he's bipolar as well. So he's an interesting chap. And apparently, I was at a toga party, so I don't really remember. We were drinking like Friday to Sunday kind of thing, and I nearly got fired because I tried to go to work on Sunday, and they're like, "Get out of here, like you're drunk." Nearly got fired. So this guy Tom called me sometime on Saturday night, and then picks me up in a van with his mates to come and get into some fight. Right? So he's to defend his honor. I was like, "Yeah, I'm coming," and stuff. And I had like a bottle of schnapps in my hand. I remember I'm drinking in the van, like, "Yeah, I'm gonna sort this out," or whatever. And so the van breaks down somewhere, like I don't know where, in the middle of nowhere. So we're all just hanging around outside the van, and somehow I got into a fight with somebody else, like, which I don't remember, but apparently I punched this kid because he hit me with his belt for some reason. I don't know why he decided to hit me with his belt. So I punched him, and then a bit later he came back with all his brother and all their mates, and they were like, and he's like, "Oh, did you hit my brother?" I'm like, "Who are you?" Like, "No, I didn't." And then I was like, "Oh yeah, I did hit that guy. Sorry." And he's like, "Shake his hand." And I'm like, "Okay." And then they just left. I was like, "Yeah, that went pretty well." Like,
yeah, and I think that's
all I remember.
That's actually an important lesson in terms of escalation. Like, if you escalated that and were like, "Yeah, I hit him and I'm going to hit him again," but there's 5 other blokes, that would have turned into a fight. But you were like, no, I'll just shake hands and walk away. Like, it de-escalated the situation. I think a lot of martial arts is about having the confidence to, if something throws down, you can throw down. But a lot of it's prevention, right?
Yeah. And that de-escalation thing, I teach to very young kids, and they get it. Like, they get it probably better than adults do, because adults will sort of argue. They'll go, "Yeah, but are you going to reward that kind of behavior?" They'll come up with really complex cerebral reasons to not take it on board. But when I sit there with a toddler and a brother who's a few years older, and I go, when you're annoying each other because you're bored, and then you're like, yeah, it's like that feeling means you're about to get attacked, because when you go up and annoy them, what are they going to do? They're like, "Yeah, he's going to hit me back, blah, blah, blah." And then when I say this bit, I go, it's like, "No, you shut up. No, you shut up. No, you shut up. I'll kill you." Like, there's never a dry in the house. Like, all of them are like, "Oh, it's so true." Like, all these little kids, like, "Oh," like they get escalation because they do it all the time. They just, and then the parent comes in and tells off the oldest one, and the youngest one's just like, it's just, but it's so true to them that they'll admit it. And then one of the things I teach them is like, so whose responsibility is it to diffuse it, right? It's the person who starts it, or is it the person who's getting antagonized to respond, who gets triggered, basically, right, in adult terms? And I'm like, it's both of you. Whoever can de-escalate, whoever can go, "I better not annoy them," or, "You know what, I'm not going to respond, like they're just trying to get a rise out of me." Like, you're both at fault, you're both at risk. Whoever can be the bigger person is the winner, because otherwise it's lose-lose. If you can go, "Nah, I'm not doing this," it's you're ending a conflict before it happens. And so, and you can see they get that as well. They go, "Yeah, true." Like, whether you start it or you finish it, it's tough. Like, everyone gets in trouble, everyone gets hurt, everyone cries, and they get it.
The classic saying is like, you know, it's the funny thing of someone will have a broken arm and then you'll say, oh, you should see the other guy. But, mate, you still have a broken arm.
Yeah. There's no winners. Yeah. No winners.
That's it. I want to touch on the fighting element one more, and then you said something that I'll go back to. Something a friend of mine he's a mixed martial artist fighter. He does a lot of weight training as well. Has a beard, looks intimidating. Shout out to Jordan. He says that he goes into business situations with confidence because he knows how to box. He knows how to fight. Not that business meetings end in fights, but it's just coming back to the confidence thing. He just walks in with a little bit more kind of, I don't know, gumption. Do you sort of feel that as well?
Yeah. And I hate to get gendered with it, but I think that there is an underlying thing in males like, could he bash me? Like just all the time. You're always sizing people up like, could I bash you or are you going to bash me, right? And, I think some of the respect in the boardroom stuff, which idealistically should be equally distributed and stuff, is just like, she can't bash me. Like there's just the underlying, like that woman's not going to end my life if this conversation goes badly. And the truth is a woman can end your life with the paperweight, or a pan in the eye.
Or they could be just as trained as well. I mean, look at Ronda Rousey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of women in Melbourne who would kill me. They'd end my life. If the conversation did go badly, they could end my life and I wouldn't be able to stop them. But I think men are always kind of sniffing each other like, could you kill me? No. And it's like, I don't have to watch my mouth around you because I would kill you. And vice versa. Dudes are like, oh, I better watch my mouth around him. Like, if this doesn't go too well, he might kill me. And I think that's just the underlying mammalian brain thing,
Yeah. I mean, if I look at my experience, like when I was out 18, 19, like I'm tall. So I got the odd person who was trying to like muscle me out because they saw me as like the tallest person. And because of that, go back to the de-escalation, I was never one to fight. I would always just use my words. And like I got very good and I think it's why I love marketing, sales and everything, consumer behavior, because I just ended up talking to the person and then found out that, oh, okay, they were just trying to size me up. And now that I'm friends with them, they don't want to hit me.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. You said, so you've been sober since 20, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay. So was that the experience prior to that? Was that what brought on your book, Highly Intoxicated Youth? Is that the framework?
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of it was violence. It was drugs, and there's a lot of desperation in that drug scene where people are, they're self-medicating their depression and anxiety, so they're desperate to get away with themselves, and it's. In hindsight, I realize it's more the ritual than it is the actual chemical of whichever drug that people choose. Because it's just like, if I have one of these, I'm going to be okay. It's a placebo. You tell yourself, if I can just get one of them, then I'm going to be okay. Whether that's cask wine or heroin, and homeless people are they're trying to get through the predicament that they've ended up in, and everyone's like, oh, why don't you get a job? And it's like, I'm just trying to feel okay today. Like the level 1 survival needs of like somewhere to eat, somewhere to sleep, go to the toilet, have a shower. Like those needs are not being met. And it's like, well, I can't really get that together today, but I can probably get on, I can probably get some drugs into my body. And it's complete and utter desperation. There's no like premeditated, it's a good day to do ecstasy today. Like it's just a compulsion, and because of that, people are really, really desperately, manipulative, controlling, dominating, underhanded, and backstabbing and lying and burning bridges is just like it's common practice. Like if it happens to you, it's your fault. You're like, I should have seen that coming. It's not. So like I trusted you. That's not how that works in that corner of the world. So I was pretty lucky and pretty keen to get out of it, and because I studied psych for the last 6 years part time. One of the things that I read in criminology was there's like adolescent limited offenders and life course persistent offenders who are, career criminals. And it's just lucky I managed to get myself out at that sort of 19-year-old time. I was like, nah, this is terrible. I managed to get out because there's not really a curve in people dropping off in their 30s or 40s. Like when you're in, you're a drug dealer. That's it.
Well done. Well done.
So I'm
So,
glad.
so what made you get out, and then two-pronged, how did you get out? Was there a run-in with law enforcement? Did they do their job in terms of restoration, or did you actually just find a way out? You were able to notice, well, this is destructive behavior, and I'm going to get out. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your sort of path?
Well, that was kind of why I wrote the book, because it's very palatable, and you can identify with myself as the character because it's very honest. I'm like, this happened, ha ha, ha, this happened, uh-oh. And you're sort of taken on a ride where these bits of insight come into it. You're sort of blindsided by the growth and the personal insight and stuff. So hopefully people read it thinking it's funny, and then they go, oh, actually I can do this. Like, it's just one step at a time. And instead of spending our money on beer, one day my mate and I got Subway and we're eating these healthy sandwiches, and we're like, it doesn't get any better than this. And it's like, we're proud of ourselves because we didn't buy beer, and it's just one little, it's one cigarette you don't smoke at a time, just bit by bit. And then I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this, until, you want something else. And what's really cute is in that book, I end up with this really nice girl, and it's true, like when I met her and all that's in the story, and she's my girlfriend now, like 20 years later. I was like, hey, do you remember when we met, and we had a little fling when we were teenagers? And she's like, oh, nice to hear from you, buddy. And then we've been dating for nearly 3 years now. It's quite adorable. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's one, that's one of those, that could be a movie, man.
Yeah.
It could be a movie. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
So I want to actually touch into all of your work with mental health. So you've studied psychology. You're very, very into, I might mispronounce it, but kinesiology.
Yeah. So next to the book, there's a Chinese medicine chart as well. So kinesiology with the Chinese medicine. Yeah.
Cool. So look, I'm very open on this podcast, and I think even part of why I do it is a way to share my journey with mental health. Often, if it comes up, which it always does, I do talk on it. So myself, diagnosed with bipolar 2, mainly the thing that I struggle. So that's kind of misdiagnosed as well. A lot of people think it's you're up and down, up and down, up and down. But for me, all it means is I'll go through periods of sustained depression and then maybe periods of heightened activity. From there, I've even reframed it to be, okay, so depression gives me an insight into myself that a lot of people don't get, but through the lessons and the learning. And then the other side of things gives me a level of creativity, motivation, passion, and work ethic that a lot of other people don't have too. So that's how I kind of frame my stuff. But yeah, let's talk. So you've done a lot of work in the field. Let's just have a riff about mental health. I know it's a very broad question, but yeah, what do you like to say when someone comes to you with, I've got anxiety, I've got depression, I've got this?
Yeah. Well, I think I really cycled the two. Like, I was self-medicating depression with probably depressant drugs, like just marijuana and alcohol and that. And then as I started to get into amphetamines and narcotics and that, it was probably more the anxiety end. But I think they're very related, like the downers and the uppers and the oh no, and then what's the point? Like this sort of there's a little ecosystem of emotions that you can hang out in. So I really went through self-medicating it the wrong way, and then finding like healthy practices, i.e. food, sleep, and drinking water and exercise, and that, incredible benefits to mental health. And it's kind of common knowledge, but part of the reason I became a personal trainer was just to support people in getting into the habits and the routines and stuff. And, there's been times where I've been disappointed to lose someone, but it's really like, good luck to you. You get it now. Like, you just got to maintain a healthy lifestyle and you'll be okay. So yeah, that's part of the reason I did that for so long as well. It was rewarding to see people's physical health upgrade their mental health. So that too.
Yeah, for sure. It's it's one of those things. Like, when I went through one of my episodes, when I was coming out of it, I just went for a walk every morning for 8 days. So the first day I still felt bad. Second day, but third day I felt great. Fourth day was feeling better. Fifth, sixth. By the 7th or 8th day, I went and got a haircut and I had a shave, and there was just this massive change. And it was due to a change in, just get your body moving. So, going for a walk to clear your mind is genuinely a thing. Do you agree?
And persistence. Like the hardest thing is getting into the habits, because if it's, I'll do it when I feel like it, then it's chaos. It's sort of, well, do I feel like it today? Not quite. Okay, I won't do it. But if it's 5 a.m. or 5 p.m. every day, then it just sort of happens whether you feel like doing it or not. So, yeah. And for me, the Qigong, so like Tai Chi, it's like less fancy Tai Chi, just that's my lifeline. Like I've done it 3 times today already, and I feel pretty damn good. It's just the calmness, and you couldn't make me anxious if you wanted to today. I'm just super relaxed. I'll probably do it again later just because there's more time, and I want to get 4 in. I just want to be like, yes, I did it 4 times today. But do you know what I mean? You could shoot me with a gun, and I'd be like, oh, that's a shame.
Damn. So you can't. So talk me through, I guess, the biology and the mental of just breathing. Then why does that work? So it's like, calm down, just breathe. Why does that work?
Okay, so if you look at it mathematically, and this is not totally the Qigong situation, but this is like me being conscious of the breathing within the Qigong and meditation, and Yoga Nidra is like progressive relaxation of each body part, similar to the Vipassana technique. People go stay in a monastery and you can't talk. It's like,
I got a mate that does that.
Yeah. But one of the things that I teach quite regularly is the 4-8 breath. So if you breathe in for 4 beats and then exhale for 8, so you exhale twice as long as you inhale, your heart rate slows down. So when we breathe in, the body's scanning for pathogens. You could be breathing in bushfire, smoke, or toxins or whatever. So your body scans when you breathe in, is there anything bad in this air? So it's kind of a little bit stressful. And if you exhale twice as much, then your heart gets to slow down twice as much. So again, when you breathe in, it might speed up again, but then exhale for 8 beats, it'll slow down. So what you're saying about walking and clearing your head, part of the reason that feels really good is because our heart rate gets regulated by the pace of the walking, and we sort of get in a nice mood. And then you think about the same problems in a nice mood, we have different solutions. You go, oh, I guess I'll just do that, then that'll solve that. And it's very different to being in bed, like, what's the point? I can't go outside. I don't want to. When you're outside and you're thinking about things, it's, I don't know, the fresh air and the heart rate dropping. It's just, it's magic.
And I guess that's why seasonal affective disorder is such a big thing. SAD. Like, if you can't go outside and do that, get your body moving thing, it's very hard, isn't it?
Yeah, and sunlight's really important. Sunlight, water.
So I started taking vitamin D tablets at the recommendation of a friend of mine. He was like, get on them, like especially during winter, because if the sun isn't around, it affects a lot of people.
Yeah, and they have sun lamps for depression and anxiety and stuff as well. People get particular lamps that that make you feel better. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
When would you use? Would you put that like beside your bed, or when do you think?
I don't know what the recommendation is. I'm not an expert in that particular thing, but it'd be seasonal. Definitely, I think they'd push it then. But maybe if it's hard to get outside, if you've lost mobility or just it's not happening because you can't face it. I've had periods of anxiety where I couldn't leave the house. I failed year 12 actually the first time because I remember do you remember videos? We had an overnight video and kept it for 8 days because I couldn't cross the road and return it. The video shot was probably 100 meters up the road and I couldn't leave the house. I just couldn't handle it. So, when I tell people that, they go, yeah, me too, got it, yeah, couldn't handle it, totally, So, it's kind of good in that way that I've got the backstory where I can say, not only do I empathize with you, but I know how to get out of the hole that you're in as well. That's been really useful.
How did you get out of that hole, that specific time? I mean, do you remember?
I think it was incremental, like what you're saying about you walk 8 days and you feel better on the 6th day or whatever. But I kept pushing myself past letting the anxiety win. Like, no, don't go to school. Like, don't go, what if this happens? What if what if someone sets you off and you have a panic attack, or you get overwhelmed, or, the what if. And I was like, yeah, what if I have a great day? What if, I just learned to sort of reframe it, that sort of NLP, arguing the positive in the face of the negative and that, which I think is a really, really important fundamental skill that they should probably teach you at schools. Well, what's the positive of this, my partner, I said, what's good about the bushfire the other day? And I can't remember what she said, but it was very like, that's a stretch, that's a long boat to get to. But at least people are banding together, and, Australians are really caring about each other right now. And, sure, they're picking on the Prime Minister, but it's also like brought up that policy's climate change, that party's climate change policies. And, we're trying to find good things about it, because obviously it's a tragedy and horrible and stuff at the moment. But there's a silver lining to everything.
Yeah, I don't know if it was you that told me this, or maybe someone else, but I might give you credit to it because you're on the show. But if anything happens to you, you just have a look at, go, hang on, okay, so how is this serving me? How is this going to make me better? What am I learning? What am I learning from this situation? Every time that I've come back from something, I've learned something very valuable that I needed to know. And so, yeah, having that outlook is really, it's hard. I get it. Like when you're in the mind frame of not there, you're like, stuff you. Like, what can I learn from this bad situation? I get that.
Yeah.
But
and sorry, I just hit the chat.
No, of course.
In the work,
get the book. I'll get the book too. You're there. Get the book.
Sure. So in the work that I do with the Chinese medicine chart, we do a reframe for every emotion. So, what's good about depression? What's good about anxiety? In the process of working the meridians and stuff. So, we rub pressure points to circulate, the chi in that area. But it's really kind of the glands. It's the hormones in the glands that we're addressing. But if you can say, what's the benefit of fear? Oh, fear's trying to protect me. Oh, anger's trying to protect me. Instead of like, oh, this is bad. How do I stop this feeling? Next time it comes up, you're like, okay, I could have been more prepared for this, or something. What can you take away from it? I think, we try not to feel things. We try not to be depressed or whatever. And it's like maybe being at home for a few days and licking your wounds and trying to figure out what the lesson is what our body's forcing us to do. It's going, you need to learn from this, or you're going to keep doing it. So we're going to stay home until you figure it out. I think it's a very natural and it's a very powerful side effect of this, brilliant brain that we're carrying around.
Definitely. So you mentioned, and that's powerful. So yeah, there's the book. good old plug to the book. That's a poster. It's not the book.
Yeah,
that's a poster. Let's talk about that a little bit more. Like, let's get in depth on it. So highly intoxicated youth, you're mapping your journey from, I guess, a highly intoxicated youth into now a productive member of society, doing things that you love doing and loving every day with a partner that you are meant to be with. Shout out. So yeah, let's tell us a bit more about the book and how that's going.
Yeah, well, it actually it started as a series of journals. So I was just kind of journaling just for my own amusement, and I'd write down my epiphanies and draw pictures, and I wrote down quotes. So when people said something that was hilarious, I'd write down the quotes. And then one day I was like flicking back through them, because I had three that were Phil, and I was like, this is hilarious. Like, if it made sense to another person, this would be comedy gold. And then 20 years later, I typed it up, sent it to publishers, typed it up again, lost the computer that it was on, so I had to like start again, and then had it professionally edited 2 or 3 times. Finally got a publisher who was like, yeah, this is gold. Like, we this fits like our brand and stuff. And then now I'm publishing another book with a different publisher, because they gave me a slightly better deal, and it's like a more international, better distribution company, because I know how to write books now. I know how to get them from like ideas into that. But it actually just started out as like the scrawlings of a madman, as a teenage dirtbag, and then now it's a book that people, email me or message
People
me
can buy
on
on Amazon
Instagram.
or
It's hilarious.
Instagram or your website. Gotta love the
Yeah.
plug. Yeah, no, I saw that process actually. I remember hanging out with you and you saying, "Yeah, I'm writing a book. I'm talking to these people about it." But you actually saw it through, and I think that's something. You mentioned that your laptop got lost, and then you started
Yeah.
again. Like so many people go, "I want to write a book," and then nothing happens. So yeah, you had a bit of grit there. Tell me about the grit.
I think, the manuscript sat on the shelf with ticks and crosses on it for probably 5 or 6 years, and it's just like, I got to pay someone else to type this thing out again. I'll get some younger person. I'll pay them $10 an hour, and I knew that I had something though. I knew that it was funny. I knew that it was insightful. I knew that it was like dramatic, and for all the right reasons. Harsh realities and stuff. I knew the happily ever after was nice. The lessons were all there. The violence, and there's promiscuity, and like it is controversial enough to get attention and helpful enough to be respectable and insightful and stuff as well. So I knew I had a good thing. And my second book was in my head for probably 2 years before I really wrote it. I just kind of was visualizing the story unfolding, and it's like, oh, what is that? And then I realized it's another book, and it's much, much shorter. But the company that picked it up, they really liked it. They're like, this is it's like a post-apocalyptic wasteland. And, what really matters when you got nothing, which was sort of, that druggy, homeless level that, I've participated in with it. There is no idealism. There's no political correctness. It's just like, how are we going to survive? It's this survival thing. And, all you've got are the people that care about you at that level. And that's the thing, is these people sort of on the surface of the planet, just trying not to die.
I think this might be a contentious question, but have you dealt with death? Have you dealt with death on a personal level?
Yeah, and actually, I wrote part of the reason I got into writing comprehensively. I wrote a piece for Elephant Journal that's called Warm, and it was it's not entirely true. It was about my friend who I was secretly in love with, and then I put it like she died before I ever got to tell her, and I wish I'd been more brave about it. I wish I'd been vulnerable, because vulnerability is so hot right now, obviously. But the actual, she's dead now, and I held her hand and it's not warm anymore, was like my grandmother when my grandmother died. And, when I had the funeral, I was like, she's dead. Like when you see them, it's like, okay. And, it had never been anyone that close before. I'd sort of been to other funerals of like my dad's friend and, this kind of thing. And there's actually a lot of guys in the area that I grew up in, like, killed themselves. Like, I don't know, the thread of feeling disconnected or whatever is something to do with this area and this socioeconomic class or whatever, or people not doing what they wanted to do with their lives and getting so miserable they couldn't tell anyone. But nobody saw it coming any of the times. No one was like, oh yeah, he was really messed up. Just like everyone was like, what the hell? That just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, and
that's
a really sad part. That's a really sad part, especially when that happens. It's, I urge anyone to speak out if you're feeling that way, of course. There's a lot of things beyond blue, better help everywhere. Reach out to those, because those are the worst ones when it comes out of nowhere. Like you don't get a chance to say goodbye. The reason I asked the question is because you were talking about perspective and then what really matters. And when I've dealt with family members passing away, and when that happens, you realize just how much actually matters. And it's, powerful perspective change.
Yeah. Humbling, hey? Some things can really humble you.
It is.
Yeah.
So we mentioned off camera. Yeah, so I'll move on. We mentioned off camera that you're rebranding. You've actually changed your Facebook profile. You're speaking. Don't worry, I'm watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what are you aiming to do, and where are you heading for 2020?
Yeah, I think that the hooligan image really worked for, the book's obviously about hooliganism, and personal training's like quite competitive. Like there's a lot of trainers out there. There's a lot of gyms. There's a lot of ways you can get fit, and being a bit of a smart ass kind of got me a lot of attention, in school as well, obviously. But particularly on the internet, like being very polarizing wins, and on dating sites, apparently, that being a very polarizing character rather than trying to be something to everyone, that doesn't work, as you would know. So being polarizing, just it really works for me, getting personal training clients, getting a martial arts school following, and I attracted this real thread of like dirty nerds is what I called that demographic, dirty nerds. So just very smutty but very intelligent, not so much like fart jokes, but really intricate sexual humor that was like, oh, that's disgusting, that's very clever, but it was this real thread of it. And I think that is sort of highbrow, lowbrow humor, like mixing those two things together attracted this sort of group of people who were sort of intelligent but also cheeky, and who are up for a bit of a tongue-in-cheek, culture. And then that's just, it really perpetuated itself because everyone liked each other based on that. The antics that I used to magnetize people, they liked each other for those reasons as well. So I built this like cheeky culture around the martial arts and the personal training businesses. Yeah. So that worked. Yeah.
Yeah. But you sort of, are you saying you're rebranding away from that image now, or what's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going more clean cut, more reliable, and honestly, I've been conscientious, academic, very sort of what's the word? Conservative. A conservative investor, and people are out drinking. Obviously, I'm not. Like I'm at home on a Friday, Saturday night watching Netflix, behaving myself with, preferably with my girlfriend over under one arm. Just I lead a pretty quiet, introverted life. I get up and do qigong, I do some martial arts, whatever. I'm pretty healthy, and so going in that direction, it's just selling different parts of me instead of cheekiness and sort of highbrow, lowbrow humor. I'm like, I'm a pretty conscientious member of society, and I keep up these practices to maintain wellness in myself. And, I do my best to keep leveling up just so that I maintain my own self-respect. Like I'm not doing it for myself, but if I quit drinking coffee for a couple of days, that's just to impress myself. It's not because someone told me to, or, I'm trying to impress my parents or anything. So I think I'm showing different sides of myself to appeal to a different audience, and it's starting to happen already. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Man, I think that's a really awesome place to leave it, actually. But I just got sort of two more questions. One is, I sort of said it. Yeah. What are you doing in the next sort of month or so? What are you releasing? New book, new program, new website? What's on the horizon?
Yeah. So michaelzoupa.com. I finally bought that domain under some advice. And so on that at the moment, there is a webinar for achievers. It's anxiety techniques to reduce anxiety. And like you were saying about walking 8 days in a row, like it'll help if you do them regularly, but it can also be emotional first aid. And on the last page, there's a page, yin while you're winning, yinning for winners, which is like a hashtag I've been pushing for a couple of years. And it's got a qigong video. So it's me just doing the movements and the breathing. So, that's useful if you're having a bad day or if you're planning to have a good day. So it's both, you get up early and do some of that, you can have a good day no matter what. Or if you're having a bad time, you can't sleep at night, that's good for that. And I've got the yoga nidra on, which is just my voice saying like, think about your thumb, think about your ring finger, think about your pinky finger, and just to shut you down. And I don't think anyone's completed it without falling asleep. Like it'll put you to sleep if you can't sleep. So that's there. And if you got anxiety or you're struggling to get out the door to get onto things, I'd recommend watching the webinar because it's really useful. I've given away a bunch of stuff in there that really has helped me and it's helped other people that I've worked with. So
Sweet.
Yeah, michaelzoupa.com. Yeah.
Yeah, and that sort of actually leads me to my last question is, if somebody's heard something on this episode, how do they reach out to yourself? What's the best way? Obviously the website, but do you have an email or something that you want people to contact you through?
Like the page, Zed Talks, like TED Talks, ZED, Zed Talks on Facebook. The logo looks like a TED Talks logo, so that's him. That's a good one. And then there's a bunch of stuff there, and Facebook, Michael Zoupa or michaelzoupa.com, and there's links to all the YouTube, Instagrams and stuff. The Instagram is introvert extra with an underscore, so introvert underscore extra. You can contact me there, and that's fun. It says memes for quiet achievers, introvert extra, memes for quiet achievers.
Love it. Love it. All right, Michael, look, thank you for coming on. You've been Michael, I've been Tim, we've been talking, and cheers.
Thanks, man.
Bye.